Hi, I'm Sayonjita. And excuse me if I'm looking a little disheveled today. I'm just about to go for my morning walk. But before I do that, I want to do the first step of what is our dish for today, Chicken 65, a red, spicy chicken starter. That is made in 3 convenient phases so you can go about your daily activities without any issues. Or if you're doing this for a party, you can easily work on the rest of your menu without having to concentrate on just this one dish. To top it all, you can make the final step just 15 minutes before your guests arrive, and there will be no mess at that time. Phase 1 is marination, which is what we're going to do now. Phase 2 is to fry the chicken and make the kebabs. They are like Chicken Sholay Kebabs, except that I'm not going to deep fry them. I'm going to pan fry them. These kebabs make a wonderful starter as well, so you can stop right here. But today we are going to move on to phase 3, which is to make our chicken starter, Chicken 65, just about 15 minutes before serving. So let's get started with phase 1 now, the marination. Here is the chicken I'm going to use. These are chicken thighs cut into 3 or 4 pieces each. I'm using chicken with bone because it takes longer to prepare and poses more challenges than boneless chicken. Boneless chicken is much easier for everyone to source, much easier to cut into small pieces, cooks faster, and is more convenient at parties where guests do not have to worry about disposing the bones. However, I do think that bone-in chicken is generally tastier. You all can make the trade-off for yourselves. In either case, I think it's best to use thigh meat as it will be less dry. I've just washed and drained it. And now for the marinade. The first ingredient is Kashmiri chili powder, lots of it. It is mild but red, so we can use a large quantity for its color without making the kebabs excessively spicy. It can absorb any excess moisture from the chicken. Then the salt, ginger and garlic paste, garam masala, the next ingredient is optional. That's my beetroot paste. It will enhance the red color of the chicken and is a good substitute for red food coloring, which is what most restaurants use. Mix everything in. This is nice and dry, just how we want it. I'm going to pan fry these, so we really do not want excess moisture in there. That will be a disaster. Next, the lemon juice. And it's going to do 2 things. The first is to add some tang to our chicken kebabs. And the second, it's going to make our beetroot paste nice and red, because beetroots turn red in an acidic medium. I'm just going to cover this chicken and set it aside. I would recommend at least an hour of marination for bone-in chicken and half an hour for boneless. And you can do whatever you want during that time or just enjoy a cup of tea. Me, I'm heading out for my walk. Well, I'm back. It's been about an hour and we are ready to embark on phase 2. If you're stopping after phase 2, that means you're making chicken kebabs as your starter, then you should get into this phase about 30 to 40 minutes before you're ready to serve if you're using chicken with bone, and 20 to 25 minutes if you're using boneless chicken. You want to serve it pretty much as possible from the frying pan straight to the table or to your platter. I don't need to do that. In fact, I'm going to make this and then I have about an hour at least before I need to make my chicken 65. So I'm going to peacefully make my kebabs now. And I have my handy dandy stainless steel frying pan. That's what we're going to use to pan fry these. And here's the chicken. So here's our chicken nicely marinated and looking rather red as it should be. There are a couple of things we need to add, and I could have added this next ingredient during the first phase, but I forgot. And those are curry leaves. I usually find it most convenient to use my dehydrated curry leaves because all I have to do is crumble them and just mix them in. But if you do not have dehydrated curry leaves, you can use fresh curry leaves finely chopped. So you can skip them if you want. This second item is the white of an egg. If you have to pause this process for any reason, now is the time. Once we move from here, then you have to fry the chicken. Just something to keep in mind. Remove any excess marinade and moisture from the chicken pieces. Since we are pan frying the chicken, it needs to be as dry as possible. Otherwise, the kebabs will be soggy and will get stuck. Actually, mine here is quite good, but I'm just going to remove a little bit just to show you what to do. If you're making chicken 65, then not to worry, it's not going to get wasted. I'm going to save it for use later. But if you're just making the kebabs today, then yes, we can't use this for anything. I've just put this marinade in the same bowl as the beetroot paste because those are just waiting for phase 3 to begin. Now we are ready to fry the kebabs. Set the pan to heat on a medium flame. It's a tri-ply stainless steel pan. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to dredge the chicken in this mixture of cornstarch and rice flour. Like so. Just make sure that each piece is coated all around. Now, if your chicken is too wet, then the flour mixture will become wet and then pan frying will be quite difficult, particularly in a stainless steel or cast iron pan. Okay, well, I have dredged the rest of the chicken offline and I did need to add some more cornstarch and rice flour, so you should make a note of that. The pan is hot now and I'm going to keep it on medium-high heat while I do this. Add enough oil to cover the entire surface of the pan. If your pan is too big for the amount of chicken you have, then you will end up using more oil than you actually need for the chicken. No matter the quantity of chicken in the pan, you need to have enough oil to cover the entire surface of the pan. So as far as possible, try and match the two, the pan size and the quantity of chicken. It's probably still better than deep frying. When the oil is hot, add the chicken pieces to the pan one by one, making sure that there is a layer of oil under each of them. I'm not sure these are going to fit. Now, if you happen to be making a large quantity and you don't have a pan large enough for that, then you may need to use 2 pans. But if you're making a mountain of kebabs, then I think for you the best option would be deep frying, which will be probably faster and more economical. As far as possible, when you're putting the pieces in, try and remember the order in which they went in the pan, because that's the order we will have to flip them over with. If you don't, it's fine, but it will help. One more thing to note, the chicken must be at room temperature when we start frying it. If you have marinated it and it's in the refrigerator, make sure you take it out and bring it to room temperature. I have somehow managed to fit all the pieces in. Ideally, I would have put 3 to 4 pieces aside and done them again, but for chicken 65, we can make this work. I'm going to add a little more oil because we need some under these pieces that I added last of all. For a couple of minutes, leave the pieces undisturbed on medium-high heat. We really do not want to touch them until they loosen from the pan on their own. Like this one here. It easily comes off the pan when I put the spatula under it. This one, on the other hand, is still not ready to be touched. And if you try to move it too soon, the covering will stick to the pan and separate from the flesh. And we really don't want that, particularly if you're serving kebabs. Firstly, because the kebabs need to have that crisp covering. This is not tandoori chicken. It is supposed to be fried, not roasted. And second, if they lose their covering, they will dry out by the time they are cooked. And you don't want that. You want nice, moist, juicy sholay kebab. As you can see, as we turn them, they are nice and crisp on this side. And this is how we want them to be on all sides. So every so often you have to keep flipping the pieces gently, making sure they come off the pan as easily as possible. Add oil whenever you feel the need for it. Now I'm going to lower the heat a little bit. The pan is nicely hot and I just need to maintain the temperature. And if it looks like it's cooled down too much and the chicken is getting soggy, I will need to increase it. But right now I don't want the kebabs to burn. So you have to kind of balance these two aspects. Just a little more oil for the underside of the chicken, for the side we just flipped over. Make sure you drizzle it all around the pan, because if it just goes in one spot, the pieces over there will just take it all. So once all the pieces are sealed from everywhere, the moisture has been locked in and your kebabs will then be moist and succulent. Occasionally, some covering will stick to the pan, especially after you flip them over. Keep scraping it off, and as long as it's not burning, it can stay in the pan. We will use these crunchy bits for garnish later. If they are burning, however, you must take them out. The kebabs must be nice and crisp on the outside. So add oil as you see fit. This one broke open and you can see it's glistening from the inside. Nice and moist. It's almost cooked. Now that the chicken pieces are completely sealed, I'm going to scrape out the pan and cover it on medium heat. Not too hot, but most definitely not too low, because then again they'll be soggy. Not for very long. Here it is after about 40 seconds. Putting the lid on the pan has allowed the chicken to release some fluid, which is what happens as it cooks all the way through. We don't want to cover it for too long because it will get soggy. If you have overloaded the pan, there is always the danger of everything getting soggy because they will collectively release a lot of moisture. That's something to watch out for. A couple of pieces here and there have lost their outer cover. This is not a big deal if we are going to make chicken 65 as I am. But if you are stopping at the Sholay Kebab stage, you wouldn't want to serve them like this. Just to eat at home, they're fine. If you're making Sholay Kebab pan fried, you do have to be particular about this. That's what makes chicken 65 much more convenient. It's definitely more forgiving in the kebab making stage. Lastly, just a little more oil, lower the heat and allow the kebabs to crispen a little bit. As always, scrape out the bottom and flip them if you feel the need. Before you take the kebabs off the pan, you must make sure that the marinade is cooked on all sides and no pink juices are being secreted from anywhere. For example, this particular piece here could be made a little crisp. It may appear that pan frying these kebabs is quite tedious, but actually it's not that bad at all. Deep frying is easier, of course, but can be quite messy, uses a lot of oil, and comes with its own set of challenges because the juices from the chicken go in the hot oil, and there are a lot of issues that can happen with deep frying chicken also. So this is my preferred method, and I have to say that these are quite popular whenever I make. Do try them out. Last of all, I'm going to increase the heat for about a minute or so and turn it off while I get my platter ready. Generally, bone-in chicken takes about 20 to 25 minutes, which is what we have taken. And boneless chicken will take 10 to 15 minutes. Garnish with curry leaves. Serve with some lemon and a few crunchies from the pan. There we go. If I was to serve the Sholay Kebabs, that's what I would serve, and maybe with the chutney. I don't have all that right now because this is not where I'm going to stop. But before we move on, I'm going to show you a piece to see how moist it is, and it's still crunchy on the outside. And now I don't need to bake my chicken 65 for another at least 20 minutes or so. So I'm going to get freshened up and I'll be back. In the meanwhile, if you did enjoy this video and found it useful, then do hit the like button and share it with your friends. And also subscribe to my channel so that I can keep giving you content such as this. Any feedback is most welcome in the comment section below. I will see you with phase 3. Before we move on to phase 3 and chicken 65, here's a look at the pan. I'm going to save some of these crunchies for garnish later. I'm going to use the same pan to proceed to chicken 65. And no, I'm not going to spend my 20-minute break scrubbing the pan. I'm just going to add some water to it while the pan is warm. Then about 5 minutes later, everything can be scraped out and cleaned with a brush rather effortlessly. You can see I'm just holding the brush with the tip of the handle and still everything is coming out. One more rinse and we can use it for making chicken 65. That's the magic of tri-ply stainless steel. And now I'm ready for phase 3. Let's move on to making chicken 65. This next step can be done well ahead of serving time. Just mixing the ingredients for the sauce. If you make it a few hours ahead of time, then I would suggest you store it in the refrigerator and bring it to room temperature before proceeding. Some thick yogurt that is not too sour. Whisk it until it's smooth. Salt, just enough for the yogurt. There's plenty of salt in the chicken. And beetroot paste to enhance the red color even more. And the excess marinade we reserved before frying the kebabs. And some Kashmiri chili powder. Mix it all together and set aside until we need. Besides this, we will need some crushed garlic, green chilies, curry leaves, and oil. Before embarking on phase 3, there are basically 3 options for you. One is, you stop at the Sholay Kebabs as we did it. We loaded up our platter here, ready to go to the table. Number 2 is, you continue with chicken 65 as I did for me it's just about half an hour after I finish making these, but you may do it after 3 hours or on the same day. And the third option is you make Sholay Kebabs today a little bit extra or a lot extra, depends. And then tomorrow you make chicken 65. That way you are set for 2 meals. If you have a big pan and you are just, say, 2 of you, you can easily do that. I do that a lot. I make chicken 65 from the morning and in the night, then depending, especially if it's a weekend, then we just make it into chicken 65 because again, the Sholay Kebabs when they're cold are not going to taste as good and rewarming never helps kebabs. But 65 you can make in 10 minutes. So that's the beauty of this. Let's get started with phase 3. Okay then, chicken 65. All we need to do is sauce up these kebabs. I'm using the same pan. It's not fully clean, but it's good enough for what I'm doing now. I just rinsed it as you saw, no soap or anything. And for this, we don't need a lot of oil. Just enough to fry the garlic, chilies and the curry leaves. I'm going to keep some kebabs to make the chicken 65 later in the day. I'm just going to make about 2/3 of the kebabs now. Fry the garlic until it's golden. Add the green chilies whole or slit. I like to cut the tops off the green chilies, leaving them whole so that we get all the flavor, but not as much heat. And the curry leaves. When the garlic is golden, drop in the chicken kebabs. And toss for a minute or 2. Add the yogurt mixture a couple of tablespoons at a time. Incorporate it. And then add 2 more tablespoons. Piece of cake actually. I'm making a dry dish because I think as a starter it should be kind of dry. But if you do want this like a gravy, then you must use more of the yogurt mixture with slightly thinner yogurt. And that's all the sauce. If your yogurt was too sour and you did not add beetroot paste or it's still sour after you added beetroot paste, you may want to add a tad bit of sugar to mellow out the tartness. I'm just going to cover the saucepan for a minute or so to allow the sauce to be absorbed into the chicken. And now I'm going to keep it open on a very low flame for a couple of minutes to allow the yogurt to dry out. At the end of it all, you should not be able to taste the yogurt in the sauce, and the sauce should have dried out and reduced. The chicken pieces, they will be soft and quite moist on the inside. And they're done. I've transferred this to my platter right here and garnish with some fresh coriander. We already have curry leaves, but you know what? It just looks and tastes good. I'm going to show you a piece. Well, here we are then, done with our starter, chicken 65. And I'm going to take one piece and just pry it open for you so you can see. It's a little different. The covering, it's kind of soft and moist on the top as well, and it's moist here, of course, because we have cooked it in yogurt. And now it's tangy and spicy a little bit, but not too much. I could have slit the chilies. I could have put some hot red chili powder. I haven't done all that. You can do all those things and make it spicier. Let me just wash my hands. And that's it then. Enjoy the chicken 65 and the chicken sholay kebabs. I'll see you again next week with another video. Thank you for watching.